An interesting development in the Russia-Ukraine war peace talks. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov said in an interview with NBC that Ukraine, quote, does have the right to exist, but with a caveat.
NBC's Kristen Welker asked Lavrov about a statement Russian President Vladimir Putin made in June when he said, quote, I consider the Russian and Ukrainian people to be one nation. In this sense, all of Ukraine is ours. Kristen then posited the question, does Putin believe Ukraine has the right to exist? Here was Lavrov's response.
Ukraine has the right to exist, provided it must let people go. The people whom they call terrorists, whom they call specious, and who, during a referenda, several referenda in Novorossiya, in Donbass, in Crimea, decided that they belong to the Russian culture.
Those referenda Lavrov was talking about were from 2022 when Russian state media said that certain Ukrainian regions like the Donbass and Donetsk largely backed Russian annexation. Meanwhile, Vice President J.D. Vance also discussed the war with Welker on Sunday. Here's what he had to say about the U.S.'s role in any security agreements for Ukraine.
The president's very clear. There are not going to be boots on the ground in Ukraine, but we are going to continue to play an active role in trying to ensure that the Ukrainians have the security guarantees and the confidence they need to stop the war on their end.
So I've been pleased with the diplomacy taking place to bring this horrific war to an end. The reality is that Russia has occupied parts of Ukraine that I don't think anyone has any reasonable plan to get back on Ukraine's behalf. I hope there's a security agreement for the rest of Ukraine that doesn't involve U.S. troops there, but from the rest of Europe. And the Russia says, okay, that's fine by us, and then there's going to be no more conquest. So that sounds good to me.
The thing that's hard about it is I understand the Zelensky position, which is like, we're not giving any of our borders up because it's a slippery slope in the long run, and that Putin won't stop.
Yeah.
At the same time, to your point, what's the alternative? I mean, we talk about this in everything. What's the other plan? Right?
No one has one.
It seems very unlikely. The only way that Ukraine would be able to take back the regions it's had lost from Russia, in theory, I think would be American involvement or heavy European involvement, right? That was certainly not going to happen in America, and I think unlikely to happen in Europe. So it's like, oh, okay, well, there's no way they're going to give up what they have now.
Ukraine doesn't have the manpower to accomplish that.
And the realpolitik of the situation is this is probably close to the best deal that they're going to get because the other alternative is
just
like
the whole country
an extension of the war.
Yeah.
Right? Even if the whole country doesn't get still bombing and bombing and bombing, you know, and so it's again, what are you solving for if you're Zelensky? Do you take 80-ish% of a good deal if that's on the table? Or do you hold out for 100% of a good deal and knowing probably that 100% deal is not going to ever exist?
And then, you know, speaking to what Lavrov said there specifically, I am no expert in the politics of the region. I don't know how the people in Donetsk and those regions now under Russian control feel. My understanding is that there is some polling to suggest that some of those people did want to be part of Russia. I'm not saying they speak for everyone or that's the right outcome. But then you do get into this weird position where, you know, the borders of Europe have changed tons of times. I support everyone's right to live free of tyranny, but the reality is if the people in a group, most of them vote or signal in polling or referendum that they would rather be a part of this country than this country, can I really take the position that that can't happen or has to be prevented at all costs? Of course not.
And again, it's what are you solving for? Are we aiming to end this war in a moderately equitable way?
Yeah.
And, you know, is Russia probably going to get some of that territory? I don't see how the war ends unless America is involved militarily, which I think is very unlikely, unless there's some give. Now, maybe Putin doesn't give it all, but...
And even the most hawkish pro-Ukraine people do not say they want to send in ground troops.
No, it's
so
just
then,
not gonna,
so then it's just that's
let's
off
just
the table.
deal with the world as it exists, not the world that you want to exist.
I say that same thing all the time on this issue. Nice to hear some some agreement.
That's why they have me in as a co-host today. Good job, Robby. Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell's DOJ interview has been released. Hear all about what is in it next. Make sure you stick around.